How would you like a free case of craft beer? Well, as a listener to our show, we'd like to thank you for listening with the help of our friends at beer52.com. Just go to beer52.com/pound to claim your free case. As a listener to our show, you can try the first case free. That's right, free. Just pay $2.95 postage. That's an incredible 8 craft beers, ferment magazine, and a snack delivered to you the next day. There's no minimum commitment. You can just take the first case free. Try the beers, see what you think, and if it's not for you, you can pause, cancel anytime. Beer 52 has a 5-star rating on Trustpilot. Trust me, guys, this is brilliant. Just visit www.beer52.com/pound and claim your first free case today. That's www.beer52.com/pound to get your free case. Trust me, guys, these are delicious. Beer 52 is the world's most popular monthly craft beer discovery club, searching out an incredible and exclusive small batch of craft beers and the world's greatest breweries and bringing them back to their members. There's a whole world of craft beer out there, and this is your chance to jump on board and discover it. With amazing beers from the up-and-coming breweries in Croatia, Serbia, Slovenia, and Bulgaria, such as a 7.2 Citrus IPA from the Garden Brewery, a black IPA from Reservoir Dogs, and a 6% New England IPA from Alyak. You get a 100-page ferment magazine included in the box where you can read and learn about all the beers and how they're made. So all you got to do is go to www.beer52.com/pound to claim your free case today. That's $2.95, guys, for a free case. www.beer52.com/pound. Come on, guys, they're delicious. Get on it.
Hello, welcome to Pound for Pound, the #1 boxing podcast with me, Jake Wood, and
Mr. Spencer Oliver.
How the fuck are you?
I am brilliant as always.
I'm surprised to hear that.
We've had a good week though, haven't we?
Very good, very good. Yeah, you started by going to the boxing writers dinner.
Yep.
Which is always a great event.
Great event. You get your past and present fighters there. Everyone mingles and you get a real sense of boxing family when you're there, and it's really good. And young Josh Kelly won Young Boxer of the Year award.
Well deserved.
Yeah, was well deserved.
He's a nice kid, isn't he?
Great kid. And I think he's got an amazing future in front of him. I believe he'll go on and win a world title.
And apparently he wants to come out with us on the Pound for Pound live tour.
Well, guess what? He's welcome, my man.
Yeah, let's get him.
Let's get him on there. Yeah, brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we've got loads of people lined up for that. And a lot of them were at our Boxing with the Stars event that we had on Friday night. What a fucking night that was.
Yeah, it's so, do you know what? It's going from strength to strength, the Boxing with the Stars. I mean, was that our 5th show?
4th, I think.
4th show. That was our 4th show. And they've just gone from strength to strength. Yeah, it was brilliant. And we had our very own Johnny Nelson even took part on this
classic,
one.
Wasn't it? What a treat to see him back in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, he's still elusive.
Yeah.
He's just the guy that he was boxing couldn't even get near him. It was a joy to watch. And the funny thing was, Johnny was having a glass of wine in between rounds.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was such good fun. And I spoke to his opponent Serkan, who just said what an honour it was to get in there and box Johnny for charity.
Oh, he was buzzing. Funds. He was buzzing after.
Yeah, he was buzzing.
Yeah.
We done it for a charity, a teenage cancer charity, Teens Unite, and we raised money for them. Everybody put their, done their part, and really successful night. It was brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. We must have had about 450 people there.
Yeah.
People were talking to me about that afterwards and saying they couldn't believe the size of the event sort of thing. We had a competition winner, didn't we? James Kenny.
James Kenny, who is our podcast listener, who I know will be listening right now, by the way. What a lovely guy.
Yeah, he had a great night, didn't he? He was just. He just loved being there, meeting everyone, didn't he? He got photos with Johnny, with Adam Smith, and he just was lapping it up.
He was in his element, and the funny thing about the whole thing was that he got the train up from Brighton, apparently. And then I saw him wandering around about 3 o'clock pissed up. And I think Nicola asked him what he was doing, whatever, and he said he was waiting to get the train back at 6 or something.
Oh, it must have been a sore head going. I hope you weren't working the next day.
Yeah,
James, we hope you got back all right.
Yeah.
But, James is also coming out on tour with us. Well, no, not with us, but he was talking about he's got his tickets and all that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to join us, we're going out in January and February next year. We're going all up and down the country. poundforpoundlive.com for all your for the dates and to get your tickets.
Yeah, we're gonna have real fun there. It's going to be really fun-filled, packed. We'll be interacting with the crowd, bringing people up on the stage. It's your chance to get close and personal. So come on, get involved, guys.
Yes, let's do it. We've got a fantastic guest this week.
Yeah, we've got an amazing guest this week. World super middleweight, former world super middleweight champion, Mr. Carl Froch. Now, I've been looking forward to getting Carl on this podcast for a while. For one reason or another, we haven't been able to get him on. We've pinned him down. We've got him on. And yeah, I'm really excited about this.
He's a legend, isn't he?
He's a legend.
A legend of the sport. I mean, I was lucky enough to see him fight 3 times, I think I saw him. I saw the Bute fight up in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Saw Kessler at the O2, and then we were there, Wembley, weren't we, for the Groves 2 fight.
The historic Groves 2 fight, which...
and the atmosphere the atmosphere of all of those fights was off the scale, especially one in Nottingham, the Bute fight. I think that's the craziest atmosphere of any fight I've ever been to.
If you think back in Carl Froch's career, his defining fight really was, for me, Jermaine Taylor. He was getting no recognition. He was having all these hard fights, winning all these Jean Pascal, and he was winning all these fights, and really he was going under the radar. Jermaine Taylor, he come from behind, knocked Taylor out in the 12th round, and then started getting the recognition that he deserved. But I think he would go down as one of our finest boxers ever.
It was a funny time, wasn't it? It's not like now that there's like all these pay-per-views. They're quite common now, aren't they, pay-per-views? I think everyone's quite used to the idea of pay-per-views. But back then when Carl was boxing, I think actually the one at Wembley, the Groves 2 fight, was the first pay-per-view. Oh, was it the Kessler? It might have been the Kessler Road 2
fight, yeah.
It was the first of them dipping their toe back into pay-per-views, wasn't it? So it'd be interesting to talk about that and I think they were different times, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I think that Froch had a big part to play in boxing transforming the way that it did. I know Anthony Joshua was taking it to another level, but Carl Froch played his part. I mean, that was the first stadium fight for I don't know how many years.
Yeah, 90 years.
Yeah, something stupid like that. And it was a memorable night. And so Carl Froch has played a big part in transforming the sport of boxing. And looking forward to listening to his story. He's a really funny guy, by the way. Yeah.
And a good talker.
A great talker.
Let's get him on.
Let's do it. Carl, how are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Carl, thanks for coming on the podcast, mate. We've been looking forward to this one for ages. I know you're a hard man to get hold of. How did you first get into boxing, mate?
My old man took me down the gym when I was probably 8 years old. He boxed from Morton Hall, out of Morton Hall, Borstal, my old man.
Right.
Which is a young offenders centre, and he boxed out of an open prison as well for a couple of years. I think he had about 25, 26 amateur fights, only lost one.
Yeah.
My dad, and he's real hard bastard, Polish, because his mum and dad are both Polish, came over in World War II. So he's like tall, slim, very strong, and he had so much hate in him from the system. His dad was really strict as well. My Polish granddad, Wojciech, right? He was like an hard, ruthless man.
Where was your dad born, Carl? Sorry.
He was born in England.
Right, but your nan and granddad had come from...
Both his parents came over from Krakow during the World War II.
Wow. I've spent some time in Krakow. I did a film in Krakow.
Really.
Ago. It's beautiful, isn't it, Krakow?
I've been there, I've been to Warsaw as well a couple of times and been around the markets and that. But no, we were sort of brought up on sauerkraut and cabanossi and a few of the Polish delicatessens and that. Delicacies, should I say. I mean, I think my Polish genes have helped me in my boxing to the fact that I'm very strong, I'm tough, I can take a shot, and I made the weight really easy, and that's always a big problem for fighters, making the weight. So certainly helped me, but no, it was my old man. He took me down the gym when I was 8 years old. He took my older brother down as well, so we both went down together, my older brother Lee, and he failed his medical when he was 10 because he's short-sighted quite badly in one eye, he's got astigmatism. 2 years later, I went for my medical and passed, and boxed boxed amateur as a kid from the age of 10, I think it is. Is it 10 or 11?
Yeah, 11, I think it was, yeah.
Right up to I was about 15. My first fight was Jason Booth, actually, not a bad fighter.
Oh, little Jason Booth, the bantamweight?
Jason Booth, yeah, was only
really?
Little kids, weren't we, like weighing 5 stone at 11 years old. Boxed him twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you beat him both times?
I did, yeah. I beat him the first time, stopped him the second time. But he's a good fighter. I mean, I caught him on the eye, I think, and he had a badly swollen eye, and the ref stopped the fight because his eye was about closed. But no, he gave me 2 hard fights. The second one was a really close fight, but then he got injured, and the fight was off. But he was a good fighter, Booth. He could fight as a kid as well. He had like that natural ability.
Yeah.
So I boxed till I was about 15 from the Phoenix Amateur Boxing Club in Nottingham, which is the club my old man took me to, and we moved to Newark, and my mum got a pub. She became a licensee, put some money into the license trade, and started working in pubs and running pubs. And so we moved from Nottingham to Newark, and I didn't like the gym out there. There's a lot of travellers. Didn't really enjoy it. It was a small gym. It was cold and wet and a long way from the pub. So I just never went down to the club. I just thought, I'm not going to bother anymore. You know, when you're 15 years old and you're into motorbikes.
Yeah.
I was in a pub, so I was playing pool a lot, playing on a fruit machine and living the pub life and that, and just helping my mum out in the kitchen on Sunday lunches and quite enjoying it. Still at school, and I just never boxed. I went down there for a bit with Carl Greaves and Ishan Picker, and they were both there. Remember them?
Yeah, I do. Ishan was an old sparring partner of mine, actually.
Yeah, good fighter, really.
Yeah.
Did he get chinned badly by Takaloo or someone?
No, he didn't. He got chinned badly by some South American for the world bantamweight title. They took him down to bantamweight, didn't they?
Of course he did, yeah. He got knocked out. But did he fight? I don't know if he fought Takaloo. But I can remember Ishan Picker, and good fighter. He used to give me some good spars. I was still only a kid then. Carl Greaves used to spar with him. He was a bit bigger than me, but yeah, from about 16, I just had enough. I never really went down to the gym. I never really boxed out of RHP, which was the club, which is what it's called in Newark.
Right.
And it wasn't until I left school and went to college in Nottingham, went to Clarendon College, did a business and finance course, and I was like just unfit and not really doing any sort of sport outside of college and just hanging around my mates and my girlfriend at the time. Driving around in my car. When you're 17, you get your new car, then your XR2 or your XR3i, and put some pepper pot alloys on it and that. And you think you've arrived in life, don't you? You've got your car at 17. You've got your girlfriend. You've got your mates. You're driving around in your car thinking you've jacked the lad.
What car was it, Carl? What was your first car?
Well, I had like an XR2 wannabe, so I had a 1.4 Sport Fiesta, but I had a Jan Speed exhaust, pepper pot alloys, with spotlights on the front. So I
what colour? What colour?
It was black. I convinced myself it was an XR2.
Nice.
But it wasn't. It was a 1.4 Sport. It didn't have the twin carburetors that the XR2 had. But it looked like one. But no, when you're a kid, I had the Orion I-Gear, which is like the XR3i, but with the boot, the Escort XR3i.
Yeah, nice.
Orion 1.6 injection gear, electric windows, electric wing mirrors, sunroof. It was
nice. You have a good stereo in there and all that?
Yeah, face-off stereo, had a big amp in the boot, face box.
He's going for it, man.
Small bag of weed in the dashboard. only a tenner's worth. That was obligatory, that wasn't.
Don't get caught with that.
It's funny, man. It's funny. So when did you start taking boxing seriously?
I got back into boxing when I was about 19 because I was just really unfit, and I was at college, and I can remember I had a puncture in my car actually, and I can remember having to jog home, and then my brother and I went and got a wheel brace and jacked it up, got the wheel brace and got the wheel off and swapped it for the one in the boot. So we sort of fixed it, me and Lee. And I can remember jogging back home. It was about a mile, and I was jogging, and I was thinking, bloody hell, blowing out my arse. I was wheezing. I was just unfit. There was like a moment of reality there where I thought, I used to be really fit. I used to run all the time, and I was boxing, and you know when you're fit and you feel strong and that. And I thought, right, I'm going back down the gym. Just like in my head, I just thought I'm going back down the gym to Phoenix Amateur Boxing Club, and I lived up the road from it. So started back down the gym just to get fit, and I was sparring with some of the lads that were in there. There's a guy called Chris Fletcher, a guy called Dominic Travis. I mean, I think they boxed amateur. There was decent amateurs, but I just found it really easy sparring them, and I was just jabbing them, not getting hit. I was a massive Nassim Hamed fan at the time. Yeah. So I had a low hold guard, and I used to throw the uppercut out of range, and think of it as a bit of Jack the Lad, like a leery. Early on in my amateur career and a pro career, I had quite low arms. And I had quite an elusive defence and a style, and that was all inspired by Naz. That was bit of a leery, cocky attitude about me, a bit of nonchalance. I And that was all from him, to be honest, from Naz. And I've told Naz when I met him, I said, you got me back into boxing.
Wow.
But I was 19 years old, back in the gym, didn't have a clue about boxing and what it meant, and they put me in the ABAs. I was like, yeah, I'll go in them, championships, whatever. Didn't even know what they were. And cut a long story short, that season, I got to the final, boxed at the National Indoor Arena in, I think it's Birmingham, and lost to a guy called Chris Bessie in the final.
Chris Bessie boxed it. He was on the England team when I was boxing. So actually, that's where when I won the ABAs was the indoor arena as well. That's where I used to do it. But Bessie was he was one of the most decorated amateurs of all time, really, wasn't he?
He won the ABAs 4 or 5 times. He won a Commonwealth that year, actually. That year I beat him. I lost to him, actually. I knocked him down in the first round. I knocked him down in the 4th round. I think it was 5-2s then. I thought I'd done enough to win, but I lost by a really wide score margin. You know what it's like, politics in boxing.
Of course.
He'd already been sort of pre-selected for the Commonwealth Games that year. And Stephen Bell won a gold, Chris Bessie won a gold, John Pearce. I boxed him the year after, the middleweight, John Pearce, remember him?
Yeah, of course I do, I remember all these guys.
Yeah, I lost to Chris Bessie. I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was just in the amateur boxing club, going down to keep fit, got in the ABAs, didn't really know what they were. I was really nervous, like fighting, thinking, bloody hell, this is like nerve-wracking, because it's quite scary, isn't it, boxing, when you're a kid. And no, I enjoyed it. I didn't really try. I never ran. I used to hate running. Still hate running. And I've never ran one day since I've retired. I've never ran. I hate running. But obviously, you run when you're boxing for England. Because I got picked to box for England after that ABA campaign. Still never took me to the Commonwealth Games. Obviously, took Bessie. Then the year after, I went up to middleweight. Put a bit of strength on, a bit of size. Went up to middleweight. And my toughest fight was against John Pearce in the semi-finals. And that was a really close fight. I went to the majority points. There was no push-button scoring system then.
Yeah.
And he was the Commonwealth Games gold medalist from that year. It must have been 1998 or 99 or something.
98 it was, I think.
Was it 98?
Yeah.
So when I was fighting him in Desborough, in the working men's club, I think it was Desborough, because he's from Middlesbrough, it was like, I've got to fight John Pearce, he's got a gold medal. Oh, I'm so nervous. And he's walking around with his Commonwealth Games gold medal England T-shirt on. And I'm thinking, that's John Pearce, damn it. But before I went into the ring, I did a ring walk. My brother was waiting for me at the ring, and he gave me a couple of slaps in the face, screamed at me, and got me really revved up. And I was right up for it. So we had a really good fight, really close. I've got that fight on video, actually, the amateur fight. It's on the old VHS.
Yeah.
And close fight. I mean, there was not much in it at all, and I won a majority points decision. And then I went on to win the ABAs that year. I think that was either the semis or the quarters. I went on to win the ABAs. Got picked to box for England. I never really boxed for a year for England. I went to Ireland, and for some reason I got in the ring, and the kid that was on the other side got out, and he didn't want to fight. I don't know why. And then I never got picked again. It was weird. And the Olympic qualifiers in 2000 for Sydney, they took John Pearce to all the qualifiers. Well, they took him to the first 3, and he didn't qualify. He got something wrong with his eye as well in one of his fights. And then they decided to take me to the last qualifier, and I got to the semi-finals of a fight in Liverpool at the St George's Hall, I think, in Liverpool.
Yeah, boxed there as well.
Semi-final. I boxed a guy called Jean-Paul Mendy, a couple of other guys, and then my last fight, which was a semi-final, I boxed a Romanian, Adrian Diacuna, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, and he lost as a pro, actually, to Jean Pascal.
Really?
Yeah, Jean Pascal chinned him. So he beat me on points, and it was one of them. I got Audley Harrison shouting every instruction at ringside, telling me I'm losing 4-0 and losing 6-0. This guy's got a high old guard, like the peekaboo style defence, vertical forearms, really tight, tucked up. I'm giving him the Nassim Ahmed, jabbing his glove, pulling his gloves down, hitting him with uppercuts and hooks, bruising, blackening his eyes. I've got this fight on video as well. So it's round 4, gone back to my corner, Audley Harrison shouted, Froch, you're losing 10-0. You're 10-0 down. You've got to knock him out. I thought, how can I be 10-0 down? So the last round I came out and just through the kitchen sink and I threw loads of uppercuts and hooks, and I had my chin out, goading him in to throw punches. The referee stopped the fight and told me to put my guard up about 4 times. Don't drop your gloves. I'm like,
why do they do that in the amateurs? They do that all the time, don't they? It's very, very weird.
And I was catching him with big uppercuts and shots, properly bruised his face up. So I lost that fight 14-1 on points.
Wow.
14-1. So, I scored 1 point. I smashed my hands on his chin, done both his eyes. His face was in that much of a mess, he couldn't fight in the final. So he didn't fight in the final. The Polish kid, Paweł Kakitek was his name, because it wound me up that much. I was thinking, I've missed out on the Olympic qualifier. So I had the 9th place, I think. So I had to we're to fight off, we're to box off for the last place. So I had to fly to Poland with the England team and box a guy called Paweł Kakitek in Poland. And I absolutely smashed him to bits, like hammered him. I busted my hand on his face throwing that uppercut. I used to always throw the uppercut, and after him I made uppercut out of range. Absolutely bludgeoned him. I mean, the fight that I lost to the Polish kid, the Romanian, Adrian, was close. It could have gone either way, because he was a really tight guard. He was catching me with a few shots, but I really made a mess of his face. But I lost 14-1. It was like someone's idea of a bad joke. In my eyes, it was a close fight that I could have won, could have lost. Thought I'd won, but I lost 14-1, so I was never going to win. The Polish kid, I smashed him to bits. He didn't hit me. I just absolutely hammered him all over the ring. He nearly got stopped twice. He got 2 standing 8 counts. I lost the fight 3-2 on points.
So to explain how the scoring works for people that listen,
well, it was a red
understand.
button and a blue button, and I'm basically in the red corner, and the guy's in the blue corner.
And you got 5 judges.
There's 5 judges. Every time you land a punch in the scoring section on the chin or the body, and with the target area of the glove, the front of the glove,
3 of the judges have
3 of the 5 judges have to hit my corner, blue corner.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Within a second.
Within a second.
Yeah,
within a second. So if all 5 of them hit it, but they're a bit out of sync, as long as 3 of them catch it within a second, a second's quite a long time when you're all pushing the button. You push it in a tenth of a second. So as long as 3 of them catch it, you get your point.
That's the scoring system.
It's quite a fair system. The problem is, the blue button's on the left hand and the red button's on the right hand. And the left hand didn't move through the whole fight. I think it was on the guy's lap. So basically, they're just looking at the fight and just pushing the red button.
Do you know if they're right-handed?
Yeah.
Because they want to do it left hand.
No, it's just mad, man. It's crazy.
It's when they're hitting the button. But when you go to count back, you can see that they've not pushed the button. If it's ever a draw, if it's like 3-3 or 2-2.
Bloody hell. They should make it. They've got to do it both with their right hand then or something.
Yeah, they're just cheating, aren't they? They're basically just cheating.
But you'd see some of them fights where they would knock the shit out of each other for 3 rounds each. They'd both be non-stop punching, and the score would be like 5-4.
Yeah.
How do you work that out?
I sort of fell out of love with the sport. In the England squad, I was really like disillusioned by it and bored of it. There was no funding, so like the lads get paid now, they get looked after and they get a bit of money for it. I was still working at an office at NTL, it was called, and it was Diamond Cable, then NTL, which is now Virgin Media. So I was in an office. I'd done a business and finance course at college, so I was working Monday to Friday, going down to Crystal Palace at the weekends, training for a couple of days, and boxing for England in like championships against full-time amateurs from Eastern Bloc countries that are real hard men and bags of experience. So it was unfair, it was tough, but I enjoyed it, never got paid for it, and just did what I did. And I missed out on the Sydney Olympics, and then I got picked to box in the World Championships in Belfast in 2001. And that's when I medalled. I got a bronze medal. I beat a guy in my first fight. What was his name? Alek Purov Vugar, I think it was, or Vugar Alek Purov. I don't know what his first and second name is. From Azerbaijan. He was an Olympic bronze medalist from Sydney.
Wow.
Battered him. Absolutely battered him. Then I boxed a Greece kid. I boxed a kid from the Czech Republic who was a light heavyweight world champion gold medalist from 2 years ago. Come down to super middleweight, give him a pasting. And I lost to a real hard bastard Russian, Andrei Gagayev, Russian military, real hard, southpaw, tough. He won that year. He beat a Kazakhstan Gizi in the final. So I was quite happy with my bronze medal. I went into that fight with him with a really sore shoulder, a bad right hand, bad thumb. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if I'd have beat him if I was fully fit, but I was injured, and mentally I was like, you know what, I've got a bronze medal. I'm going to start getting some funding now. This will do me. I'm quite happy with this. And he hit me with a left cross in round 1 in the shoulder. It felt like I could break my collarbone. And to be honest, I thought to myself, fuck this, I don't fancy this. That really hurt. So I'll just keep out his way and boxed. I kept out his way, boxed and moved, didn't get hit and lost on points. I deserved to lose. It was bad. It was a bad attitude. But that mindset and what I did there, I was so upset with myself and so annoyed with myself when I watched it back, because Rob McCracken was there. And I spoke to him that night. That's when I met Rob McCracken, actually, my coach, with Mick Hennessy out in Belfast. And he said, you had him hurt. You had him. His legs were gone. And when I watched it far back on video, I caught him with a shot and uppercut. His legs were gone. But I wasn't trying to win. My hand was sore. My shoulder was sore. I thought, well, I've got a bronze medal even if I lose. I'm on the funding. That'll do me. So that loss actually made me say to myself, you know what, I'm never doing that again. I'm never going to give up or quit or just not try. I
was going to say, because anybody that knows Carl Froch in his career as a professional was always that never quit, always fight to the end. I was talking to Jake about this off off air, like the Jermaine Taylor for me was your defining fight, the fight that really sort of like catapulted you to another level, and you was trailing in the rounds and then going into that last round, you just turned him over, and he was just like, so when you tell me that story as an amateur, I find that hard to believe when you see how it turned out as a pro.
This is why amateur experience, you can't buy it, because it's so important to go through the whole sort of apprentice of being an amateur boxer. You win the ABAs, you lose in an ABA final, you get picked to box for England, you travel around, you're fighting all these top amateurs, which are like pros really, and you're getting beat. I lost a lot of fights as an amateur in boxing for England. I lost a couple of Olympic qualifiers. I lost in the multi-nations tournaments. Don't get me wrong, I won a gold in a multi-nations tournament, best boxer of the tournament. Me and David A were back-to-back gold medalists, and I nicked it, and I beat him to the post on the tournament, fighter of the tournament. We won back-to-back medals, David Hay and myself, in the World Championships. I got a bronze, he got a silver, but he got stopped by Solis. I never got stopped. I don't get stopped. Never get stopped, but and never quit as well. But the amateurs and the pedigree from that and the experience of, like I said, giving up sort of in the semi-final to the Russian, I knocked myself sick. I think I cried when I got home for a couple of days, really upset at myself, got a bronze medal. But I watched the videos, I had him, and I was with Rob McCracken, and I was really upset, and it was that made me say to myself, I'm never, ever doing that again. And I never did that again. I never quit again. But you need them amateur experiences and them losses and them tears, the heartache and the pain and losing fights and Olympic qualifiers to make you angry and make you the rounded fighter and experienced fighter you are. When I turned professional, I was 25 years old. I'd done the World Championships. I'd done the multi-nations tournament for England. I'd won 2 ABAs. And no one gives me credit for being a skillful fighter. They think I'm just a warmonger with a big chin who can fight. I punch quite hard and I'm quite brutal. I'm super fit. But you don't win 2 ABA titles and a bronze medal in the World Championship, amateurs, if you haven't got any skills. I had a good jab. I had a good counter right hand. I used to work quite well inside. I could throw that uppercut from out of range and land it crisp on the chin, like Nassim Ahmed used to. But when I turned pro, obviously Rob McCracken taught me how to box and taught me how to move and defend myself properly, get my guard up. And Jermaine Taylor taught me how to keep my defence even better, because he put me down for the first time in my career in round 3. And you mentioned that fight earlier. I had to box and move and tire him out and pick him with big right-handers and shots from out of range, because he was quicker than me, more skillful than me, but I was tougher than him and fitter than him. So I got to him in that last 2 or 3 rounds, around 10, 11 and 12. I was backing him up, hitting him hard, and I forced the stoppage in the last round in my first world title defence in Connecticut. Nobody saw it, nobody cared. It was on, I think, ITV Sunday morning when everyone was still snoring. And I never got the credit. So after that fight then, which was my first world title defence, I've skipped the world title against Jean Pascal, unbeaten Canadian, because Joe Calzaghe didn't fancy the job. Whichever way you look at it, Joe Calzaghe didn't want to fight me. He was WBC champion at the time. I was WBC number 1, mandatory challenger. He waited till the last day to vacate. So he made me wait all this time, and then he vacated. And then who steps up? Jean Pascal. He's next in line. Unbeaten Canadian, Commonwealth gold medalist. I think he stopped Paul Smith in the Commonwealth as an amateur. Liverpool's Paul Smith, who's
he's a tough bastard.
Good fighter, he was a good amateur, tough. But this Pascal was really an unbeaten, young, fresh, talented, fit, strong. He went on to win a world title at light heavyweight after I beat him at super middle. But that was a 12-round toe-to-toe dust-up in Nottingham on ITV, and it was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. I won the WBC world title in 2008, 10 years ago this Christmas.
Wow.
And my first defence was the one you talked about earlier, Spence.
Jermaine,
Jermaine Taylor. I watched Jermaine Taylor when I wasn't even a pro, undisputed middleweight champion.
Great fighter, by the way. Great fighter.
He won a bronze, I think, in Sydney. I'm sure he bronzed in Sydney. So you got 2 bronze medalists, didn't you, in the Worlds and the amateurs?
Yeah, you did, yeah.
So when I fought Jermaine Taylor, I was thinking, bloody hell, I've got Jermaine Taylor in front of me. Look at this. Amazing. And I was in awe for a couple of rounds. And when he hit me with that right hand and knocked me over, he woke me up. He really did. He woke me up, snapped me out of it, and I thought, right, now I've got to get to work. And after that Jermaine Taylor fight, then ITV sort of pulled out of boxing. BBC didn't want to know anymore. Mick Hennessy didn't kind of secure a deal with the BBC. I think there was an opportunity to do something with the BBC with Audley Harrison and then David Hay and myself. But it was all geared towards Harrison, the gold medalist, Olympic champion. who found out he's got no heart in a fight, let's be honest. He just didn't have the bottle, he didn't have the credentials. He's a nice guy, Audley Harrison. And in boxing, nice guys finish in second place, as we know. So I was kind of in no man's land. Got my WBC title, beat Pascal, defended against Jermaine Taylor, sitting at home with 50 quid in the bank, thinking, this ain't all what it's cracked up to be. ITV had pulled out, 2008, all the markets crashed, everybody's skint. Even Ant and Dec aren't getting paid, and they're like the big duo. So I ended up signing a 2-year deal with a company called Showtime in America, and I was guaranteed 7 digits. And I thought, you know what, that'll do me. Every time I fight, I'm getting 7 digits, and whatever happens, I don't really care. I'm enjoying it. I'm earning good money. I'm defending my titles. And actually, in that tournament, 5 fights, I lost twice. I lost to Mikkel Kessler in a really tough fight when I flew under the ash cloud and went over to Denmark. So I was a little bit hindered by that, but Kessler was a great fighter, and he beat me, and it was an amazing fight. And I also lost to Andre Ward in the final. Andre Ward just did what he does. He keeps out of the way. He don't get hit with a shot. He holds on. He uses his head. Awkward, horrible, fucking horrible to watch, horrible to fight, hard to hit. Discussed to the audience and the TV companies, hence the reason that HBO didn't renew his contract and forced him into retirement. And that's why Andre Ward ain't fighting anymore. Say what you want about he's retired at the top and he's this and he's that and he outclassed me. Load of rubbish. He retired because TV don't want to show him anymore because his style is boring. But one thing about Ward, he's unbeaten since he was 12 years old. He's retired unbeaten as a pro. He beat the guy that everyone was fearing, that Kovalev, twice, beat him fair and square as well. And guess what? I lost on 2 judges' scorecards. And say what you want about the points in the fight and outclassed and whatever. It was 115, 113 on 2 scorecards. That means I lost by a round. 1 round, it was a draw. And, I'll take that off a guy, of a fighter like him. He stopped Kovalev twice, made him quit. He didn't make me quit. It didn't fucking bother me. It didn't bother me. I got out of the ring and I said, you know what, you just pickpocketed my world title off me. You should be ashamed of yourself. Not once did you stand and fight. Because that's my style, brother. That's my style. Son of God, he calls himself.
Yeah, that's it.
Do me a favour. But anyway, I'm not no sour grapes. That loss there, that loss was like the Kessler loss. After the Kessler loss, I came back and absolutely pasted a guy called Arthur Abraham and won my WBC world title back in the Super 6. After I lost to Andre Ward, I came to England, met Eddie Hearn. Well, I was with Eddie Hearn actually towards the end of the Super 6. But we met up and I said, look, get me that geezer from Canada, Lucian Bute. He's IBF champ. He's unbeaten. He's tough. He knocks everyone out, whatever.
He was the big noise at the time, wasn't he, to be fair? Lucian
and Eddie Hearn said to me, look, you're going to earn 150 grand, 200 grand tops, and he's a world champ. You've just been earning good money in the Super 6. Just fight a numpty, fight a journeyman, get yourself back on Sky, then we'll build that fight. I went, Eddie, I can't be arsed. I'm ready to retire. I've done all right out of the game. I'm happy. Bear in mind, I've invested all my money in properties and in real estate and bills, and I've took that on now into the next level with commercial. But I won't talk about that. It'll bore people. But I basically don't need the money. I said, look, I want the world title. I'm infuriated. He went, well, I admire you, but to be honest, if you want the fight, you can have it. I went, get me the fight. So he got the fight. He got Lucian Bute to come over to Nottingham, my backyard, my castle, the sheriff of Nottingham, in his own town. He thinks he's going to beat me in Nottingham. I was disgusted. I thought, I can't believe he thinks he's going to win. Nobody thought I was going to win. Sugar Ray Leonard was there that night, thought I was going to lose. Everyone on Sky, Adam Smith, he's my mate, I work with him now, he'll be listening to this. He thought I was going to lose. The only people that thought I could win was me and Rob McCracken. And everybody else thought I was going to lose. And if you watch that fight on Catch Up, whatever, I boxed Lucian Bute. It was 5-round demolition job. I was a man there.
I was there that night, Carl. And
one of the best nights of my life.
I can honestly say that atmosphere in that Nottingham arena was one of the best I've ever experienced. I've been watching boxing all my life, and
it's that kind of size arena where it holds about 7, 8, maybe 9,000.
Fucking noise in there. Everyone was stood on their chairs. You couldn't no one was sat down. You had to stand on your chairs.
That ring entrance, no easy way out coming out to the Rocky tune.
I always remember when they made the fight, and you're right, Carl. I think there wasn't a person in the boxing industry that thought Carl was going to win, and I'll say that because Lucian Bute was the talked about as one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world at the time. This new kid on the block who was supposedly untouchable.
You know what? They took the Ring magazine belt off him before the Super 6 final. against Ward. So Ward got the Ring Magazine belt, and he shouldn't have had it because he never beat Bute for it.
Yeah.
So he was a lineal champion in that respect. So when I beat Bute, I should have got that ring belt. But I'm not going to cry in my pillow about it, because I've got a few nice belts. But I should have that ring belt as well.
Oh, shit. Did you know she didn't get the ring belt?
No, I didn't get a ring belt, even though I beat the ring champion, the guy who was Ring Magazine champion and ranked above me and Andre Ward at the time. But because I lost to Ward, you could say, okay, you lost to Ward and then you beat Bute. Does that mean you should get the ring champion off Ward? Probably not. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I beat Lucian Bute, hammered him over 5 rounds, and I've got that IBF world title. And then I had my first easy fight, and I don't want to take anything away from Yusuf Mack, because he went 11 rounds, I think, with a guy called Tavares Cloud, who was a decent light heavyweight. But Yusuf Mack was my first easy fight, really. First mark time fight in years. I won the world title off Jean Pascal, defended against Jermaine Taylor, fought Mikhail Kessler, Arthur Abraham, Glencoff Johnson, the Road Warrior, who knocked out Tarver and Roy Jones. He's got a big right hand. He hit me with a right hand in round 7 and round 8. Done my jaw, perforated my eardrum, and given me whiplash for about 4 weeks. With his double right hand he hit me with, but I just munched it up like Pac-Man. I didn't really mind. It didn't put me over. And then I fought, obviously, I fought Andre Ward, and then I fought Bute. So the first easy fight really in my career since becoming world champion was a guy called Yusuf Mack. Yeah. And I hit him with a body shot, and as Ricky Hatton says, folded him off for like a deck cheer. And the fight was over, and then he got into the porn industry, didn't he? After that,
is that what he went into? Did he?
Yeah, he was in gay porn, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what he did.
Was that other one? Was it the porn? Was it Robin Reid?
Robin Reid got into it.
Was it Robin Reid?
I think so. I'm not
really too.
Don't want to say it
wrong.
but
yeah. Sorry if I've got that wrong, Robin.
I don't know why I dropped that in, but he was found out about a year later, and he was in one of them porn films. They had him banged to rights.
What, did you see it or?
No, he says I was drugged up. I'd done that, and then the TV company said, "Listen, if you're going to accuse us of drugging you, we're going to sue you." And he went, "All right, no problem. I wasn't drugged up really. I loved it. You got me. I enjoyed it." But anyway, I just thought it'd be funny to drop that in for the listeners. But after the Yusuf Mack fight, obviously then comes my first fight on Sky Sports box office.
So that was quite towards the end of your career,
right? Towards the end of my career.
Carl, yeah.
So all of a sudden, I've done all right at the Super 6, and I've done a decent career, British champion, defended it 3 times, Commonwealth champion, world title. I've done all right, but I'd never boxed for money. Never thought about the money really, which was probably a problem early on, because I got Mick Hennessy promoting me, doing the best he could for me, but I wasn't really earning any money. I don't know where it was all going, but I wasn't earning it.
Yeah.
So the TV companies probably wasn't paying what they used to pay. I wasn't on Sky. There was no box office. There was no real commercial stuff like there is now. I had a sponsor, Lonsdale, but they never paid any big money. So, but I wasn't really bothered. I just wanted that green and gold belt that Sugar Ray Leonard had and Mike Tyson had and Muhammad Ali, and I got that when I beat Pascal, defended against Taylor. Went in the Super 6, lost to Ward, beat Lucian Bute, and then knocked over Yusuf Mack, and then comes the big fight on Sky pay-per-view at the O2 in London, 20,000, Mikhail Kessler rematch.
I was there that night as well, Carl.
And I thought to myself,
good atmosphere that was.
I thought I could lose this fight. I could lose. Kessler's a tough fighter.
That was
really
a tough
hard,
fight, that.
Strong bastard like me, can take a punch, fit, obviously a bit past his best, but to be honest, I was past my best as well. My best years were behind me. I was 34 years old fighting him. I mean, my prime was like late 20s, early 30s. 34 when you've done everything I'd done, and your elbows are in bits, and your Achilles tendon's playing up every time you run, and your back's sore. I'm having my back popped in by a chiropractor like once every 2 weeks because I'm out of line, which used to always happen. You're kind of falling out of love with the sport, and you're kind of doing it because you're doing it now to earn some money, and you're doing it to just set yourself up before you retire. So I'm going into the Kessler fight. Don't get me wrong, I trained really hard, made sure I did it properly. I was motivated. Sky Sports pay-per-view, I was getting paid well. First fight back on box office, actually. So Eddie's got a lot to be grateful for. Carl Froch brought pay-per-view back to Sky Sports. And pay-per-view now on Sky Sports box office is absolutely flying. Obviously, Anthony Joshua was leading the way and showing everyone how it's done. But
that was the first one they did, was it, Carl?
That was the first one back after I think it was David Hay, Audley Harrison.
So this was 2013.
Yeah, I think Hay beat Harrison, and Harrison didn't throw a punch. And I think a lot of people complained and wrote emails in, and Sky was like, right, we need to stop pay-per-view now, because that was bad. I think it was that one, and was David Hay Klitschko on Sky pay-per-view, or was that on Setanta? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Setanta, I think it was. I don't think it was... Oh no, David Hay Klitschko actually was on Sky, because I was out there. I worked on it. It was freezing cold.
I was out there in Hamburg.
It was on Sky. I was working on that.
Was it pay-per-view that? Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah, it's pay-per-view.
I did that one as well, actually.
You was working out there as well,
I was, yeah. For some reason, I've had a mind blank on that one.
Yeah, I know.
That was a fucking stinker, wasn't it? That was a horrible fight.
That was the last pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah.
Because we never got pay-per-view. So a couple of years went by, and then, I got pay-per-view back with a Kessler fight. I would say I did it. I mean, Eddie Hearn and talking with Barney Francis and Adam Smith, and the collective decision, this is a big fight, this is pay-per-view. And he did okay numbers. It didn't go through the roof like pay-per-view does now, but he did okay. I earned good money out of it, defended my title, and beat an old friend, because he is a friend. I spoke to him last week, Kessler, and I won the WBA title, got rid of that, and then, let's say, a blemish on your record. That loss, I've sort of amended the loss by winning. So it's 1-1 for me and Kessler, and you're as good as your last win. So I think I've sort of put that right.
Did you ever? Sorry, Carl. Did you ever talk about a trilogy with Kessler?
We did, yeah. We was on about it the other day. I said you should come out of retirement. I'll come out of retirement. All we'll do is we'll just throw a body shot.
You make a bundle.
One of Kessler's parents is actually English, isn't they? Was his mother is English? I know one.
Yeah, she's from England. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember about from England, but yeah.
But at the time, Cole, did you ever was that ever on the cards?
It wasn't really, because Kessler kind of retired, didn't he, after his win to me, because his eye was really bad. I split his eye open, and he had about 25 stitches in Denmark that night. He retired, came out the Super 6, and then he came back, didn't he? I think he boxed Brian McGee or someone, and because he was back in it, we then had that rematch. But I think that rematch took everything out of him. It was really hard for him to train and get to the point where he boxed me at the O2, and he gave it everything that night, as did I, and it was a close fight, 12 rounds. I mean, I beat him on points, but he caught me with a shot in round 11, wobbled me a little bit.
You both had your moments in that, didn't you?
I was finishing strong, trying to get the finish, and we both ended up on our feet, finished on our feet, finished the fight, proud, did ourselves proud. I won the fight fair and square, really. He didn't have any complaints. And he
was a great fighter, Kessler, though, wasn't he? If you look for his career, man, he was a real strong.
I've got to give Joe Calzaghe some credit, because Joe Calzaghe obviously beat Kessler. Kessler was a bit younger. I mean, I'm not going to give him credit in one and then take it out on the other end, but Kessler told me personally that he broke his hand before that fight. He had 2 injections. He was paid more to take the fight. So Kessler was still tough, and he was still throwing the punch, but he had a broken hand when he fought Calzaghe. But he hit Calzaghe with a lot of shots, and Calzaghe is a real tough man as well, really hard and tough like me. And he got a high work rate. He's super fit, and Kessler was a hard man to beat. Well, Calzaghe, he never got beat. They're 46-0, I think he was.
Yeah.
And you can see why. I mean, we have our little bit of back and forth and give each other a stick, but let's be honest, Joe Calzaghe was some fighter.
Yeah, sure.
Super fit. But, he swerved a couple of people. He swerved Glenn Johnson twice. He didn't give Robin Reed the rematch. I thought Reed won that fight. And like I said, I don't want to give him any stick. That fight was a split decision. I thought Reed hit him with big shots all night. And he could have got the win there. Never did. He didn't give Reed the rematch, did he?
No, he didn't.
He pulled out of Glenn Johnson twice. Glencoff Johnson, the road warrior, the big puncher. He didn't fancy that one either. But he didn't fancy fighting me either. So, there's been a bit of manoeuvres and a bit of tricks and slips and slides to keep that undefeated record intact. But I'm not asked about an undefeated record. I lost to Kessler, got him back in the rematch on pay-per-view, got paid very well, so things happen for a reason.
Yeah,
lost to Andre Ward, I was that angry and fueled up, I then came and gave Lucian Bute a pasting. So everything for a reason. As the guy we've not mentioned so far kept saying, George Groves, everything for a reason. And then came the George Groves saga. First fight in Manchester, second fight in Wembley, in front of, I think, there was 80,000 fans there. What a night.
Yeah, do you know what that was incredible. I was going to have to ask you about that 80,000 fans. I knew it was going to get brought up at some point. But let's talk about the first fight in Manchester. So I was there, I was working at ringside for that one as well. When that shot went in, and was it the first round you got caught? you got caught cold.
As I was walking around my room looking for this phone that I'm talking on now, it was on Sky Gold. And Rachel went, oh, look what's on, my Mrs. Rachel.
Yeah.
And it was me doing my interview after that fight with my nose all swelled up, my lip puffed up, my eye bloody half closed, and Groves was sitting there sulking because he'd just been stopped. And I just thought, it's weird that being on. I mean, we're going to talk about it. But that first fight, I got clipped in round 1, went over for the second time in my career. And to be honest, I was asleep on the way down, and I woke up when I hit the floor.
Yeah, sure.
And, got up, and I toughed it out. I mean,
how did you get up? I've got to ask you a question, mate. I've never asked you it, but it was like,
to be honest.
Because I've got to tell you, that was George Groves, we know, whacks hard. He's dangerous in the first 6 rounds. This was the first round, and he caught you flush. One of those rare occasions you switched off for a second, boom, he caught you, and you're right, you was asleep on the way down, and I thought when you hit the floor, I think I was doing like Radio 5 or something, and I was like, there is no way he's getting up. I don't know how you've done it, mate, but I mean, that's a sign of a true legend, mate, because how you climbed off that floor, only you're going to tell us.
Yeah, well, I think it's a combination of fitness and, grit and determination mentally and having a lot of self-belief, but that inability to get rendered unconscious neurologically, we don't know what it is. I mean, some people have got glass jaws. I mean, Amir Khan, I often give him a bit of stick, a bit of tongue-in-cheek stick, but when he gets hit on the chin, he goes out like a light, and sometimes it's not even a massive shot. I know he got ironed out by Alvarez, and Prescott put him to sleep, and he's done a few dances in his time, and his legs are gone. But he is a bit chinny, Khan, and David Hay as well. I mean, when he gets caught, he does wobble a bit. You can't really train the chin. You can't put muscle around the jaw. It's something to do with the neurology of the brain switching off the central nervous system when you get hit on the chin. And when I get hit on the chin, I obviously felt the effects of that punch from Groves because I got caught square on. I was coming forward, and he threw a really good sharp counter right, flush on the chin. And momentarily, for a split second, knocked me out. But I wake up. I can't say why. I just do. I mean, some people don't get knocked out, and some people do. I don't know what it is. I'm sure a scientist or a brain surgeon could explain the electrical impulse and the dynamics.
Have you never been knocked out, Carl? Not even sparring?
No, the only guy to knock me out is the anaesthesian. 5 times. I've had 5 operations. I have. Where I've been put out, but no, never been knocked out in sparring. I've been put over in sparring once or twice.
I think that's standard for most fighters.
Yeah, but I've walked into shots where I've been off balance and been caught and had a little bit of a flash and gone over and got straight back up and been fine. But no, down twice in my career. Jermaine Taylor round 3, George Groves round 1 in that first fight in Manchester. He then hit me with a kitchen sink for the next 6 rounds. Hit me with everything, and guess what? It's only half the fight. Round 6 went, end of the round. I could see he was knackered, physically exhausted. I went back to my corner in round 6, and I said to Rob McCracken, he's knackered. I actually said he's fucked. You might beat that out. That's what I said. And Rob was like, yeah, I know, but just keep boxing, keep moving for the right. He loves the jab, Rob. He loves the double jab right hand down the pipe, all the textbook stuff. He loves all the, and it works as well. All the best fighters have got good jabs.
Yeah.
So I came out round 7, and I could see he was tired, so I started hitting him around the body. I was smiling at him. I'd just recovered from the round 1 knockdown. I actually felt awake. I felt like I'm all right now, because I was in a bit of a daze for 6 rounds. Didn't know what day of the week it was. Like, literally, I'd been knocked down that heavy. I got up, and I was fighting just on impulse and instinct for 5 rounds. So come round 7, I felt like I got myself together. I felt quite comfortable and confident, and I wasn't breathing heavy, and I was thinking, I'm hurting him now, and because he was showing signs of weakness and he was slowing down, it was giving me more confidence, as it does, yourself, Spencer. When you're fighting, you see your opponent drain a bit, you see him tire, and you feed off that. And
massively.
It makes you feel a bit more confident about the work you're doing. And it was only round 7, so I think round 7, round 8, I don't know if it was round 8 or round 9 when Howard Foster jumped in.
Yeah, round 9, I think, Carl.
And Groves was getting caught with right hand, left hook. He'd been hit with an overhand right before the ref brought us together again and said box, and then the combination went in on the ropes, and it was a bit of a mess, bit of a bit of a mix-up with Groves sort of trying to throw a punch as well as getting hit with a left hook and a right hand and another left hook, and then his arms went down by his side and his head sort of slumped forward. So Howard Foster felt he had nothing else to do. He had no choice but to. If Groves would have been looking at him with his guard up, throwing shots back, Howard Foster couldn't stop the fight. But because Groves had leaned forward with his head down and his arms slumped, Howard Foster decided to jump in and stop it. in hindsight, when you look at it, and if you're a fan on the night, the fight was stopped a couple of seconds too early because it didn't give us that conclusive finish.
Yeah, but I said this on the night, right, because there was a lot of controversy about the stoppage and everything else. But you're right, Cole. Listen, as an ex-fighter, right, you can see the signs when a fighter's getting tired, and you could see that he was flagging from the 6th. By the 9th round, he was gassed. And I made this comment. I think I was working. I'm sure I was working on radio at the time or something. But I made this comment, and everyone was saying, "Oh, Howard Foster's jumped in too early. That was too." And I went, "Yeah, but if he left that 10 more seconds, we might have been saying Howard Foster jumped in too late, and this kid's not in the condition." The referee's job is to stop the fight when he feels is right, and he was gassed out there. He was totally gone, and for me, I like to see a fighter live to fight another day, and I think that another 20 seconds in that round, and you don't know what would have happened. It could have been, it could have been dangerous.
Well, we see fighters get injured, don't we? And we never like to see it, and a lot of the times it's down to dehydration. The British Boxing Board of Control are on the case for that now. They do hydration tests to make sure that people don't lose too much weight too quick. But whichever way you look at it, whether it was stopped too early, some people think it was, whether it would have gone on and I would have knocked him out conclusively and finished him off and done some damage, or maybe not done damage, just made sure that he didn't get up for the count, everyone would have been happy. They'd have had a conclusive finish, and guess what? There would have been no Wembley rematch.
Yeah.
So however it happened, however it panned out, and what events the referee saw and I saw and the way it went, and Groves was flagging getting caught, whatever brought the fight to its conclusive finish, or non-conclusive finish, but brought the conclusion at that time in round 9, a couple of seconds too early, that caused the biggest stink. And people laugh and say, "Oh, Carl Froch, 80,000 fans," right? But it was that whole event and circumstances in that fight in Manchester that night, with Groves, the young kid that not many people really think he could beat this old warrior, Carl Froch, but he gave a really good account of himself, knocked me over, gave me a lot of good shots throughout the whole fight. And then all of a sudden I'm turning it around, and then we get the stoppage, but the stoppage is a little bit too early, and everyone's pissed off because they're thinking, I want to see Groves knocked out on his back, out for the count for 10 seconds. We've been robbed of it, but we see it all the time. There's loads of fights. Over the years, you look and you say, why has the ref jumped in there? Why didn't you just leave it? Loads. It's not just mine against Groves. It happens all the time. But it was a perfect moment at the perfect time in a grudge match against a young up-and-coming kid, cheeky, obnoxious geezer he is, I'm being polite, against the old warrior who was about ready for retirement, who's had a fantastic career and done well and beat Kessler in the rematch. And, everyone was like, "Oh, what happened here?" And the crowd in Manchester were booing and spitting at me and throwing coins at me, and Howard Foster got abused, terrible. I've heard he got his car written off a couple of times and vandalised, and
he got a really lot of stick after that.
It's terrible what happened, because it's boxing, the referee's there to protect the fighters, and the fighters live on to fight another day, and we got Wembley.
Exactly.
Without all that, them events and circumstances, and like George Groves kept saying,
effectively, you got Wembley, and you both got massive paydowns out of it. So if anything, you thought you would have bought Howard Foster a beer.
Yeah, well, it was 80-20 split, actually, with me and Groves. So I don't know how well Groves did, but I know I did 4 times better than him.
So Carl, there was no rematch clause with Groves, was there, for the first fight?
No, but he got himself mandated. He got himself made mandatory by flying out to America, complaining about the stoppage and the way it was, and the IBF said, you know what, then you can have your rematch. But by the IBF rules, the champion gets 85%, and the challenger gets 15% if the challenger's not ranked in the top 5. And George Groves wasn't ranked in the top 5. So Eddie Hearn and myself did a very shrewd deal. I played it like I didn't want to fight him for about 5 weeks. Not happening. Built it up, got the press going, and got all the papers writing and talking about it. Got all the people on Twitter flagging me off non-stop. I was loving it, lapping it up. So I was thinking, these are all going to buy the fight. And then all of a sudden we announced the fight. Did the deal with Groves. Ordered the smallest ring possible, 14-footer. We couldn't get Howard Foster. We couldn't do that twice. But,
Did you box in a 14-footer?
We boxed in a smallest. I think it was maybe 16. I picked a small ring because my job was to train this time properly, get myself in great shape, and take the centre of the ring and let him do laps and laps and laps until he gasses out and then knock him out. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what we did. It was all planned, all scripted. And I trained for that fight. I actually trained for the Groves rematch properly, because the first fight, I'm not taking anything away from Groves' great performance, but if you go back and have a look at ITV, I was on a program called Stepping Out, which was a dance show with my partner Rachel. We were doing a his and hers bloody dance competition. And
we was looking at a couple of your dance things. We watched.
That took up 6 weeks of my 12-week training camp.
Yeah.
Tumble. We were looking at Tumble.
We was watching Tumble.
That was a gymnastic one. I did that after.
We watched a little bit of Tumble. I saw you up
I
on the
enjoyed
hoops.
that. Really enjoyed it. I hated the dancing. It was rubbish, horrible. Hated it. I pulled out with a bad back, so I could concentrate on the last 4 weeks training for Groves.
Yeah.
But I wasn't fit. The sparring was bad. Everything went wrong, and then obviously I went to Manchester and nearly got knocked out. But got the win. But no, the Tumble one, I really enjoyed that. Gymnastics.
That's it. Gymnastics.
I was enjoying the training. I did the hoop. I was doing back somersaults.
Yeah. We was watching the floor. You done the floor stuff where you had to get up on your shoulders.
Yeah, you looked
and
a bit
all that.
shaky, Carl.
Oh, you know that.
Your legs look like were wobbling a little bit for the time there, mate.
Massively. You know, all his training, all the build-up with the training, like when you lift people in static positions like that, it's really easy. That night, I had this pink tablet, painkiller, that someone had given me, and it was, I think it was cocodamol or codrimazole. I'd never had one before in my life. I didn't have paracetamol and diclofenac sodiums through my career to take the inflammation. I took this tablet, my back was that bad, I had to take something.
Yeah.
I was totally gone. I couldn't really stand up.
My legs were shaking like a leaf up there with on your shoulders.
I was nervous anyway. My hands were trembling, my legs were trembling. And I thought to myself, why can't I lift? I've lifted her in training loads. Once you've locked your arm out and you've got someone up.
She was a big girl though, to be fair.
Yeah, she's all right.
Do you know what? You had this look on your face, because we was just watching it before when we was waiting to call you. Jake went to me, he fucking looks a bit shaky there. I went, you look at the face and all, he's like proper tunnel vision, focus.
And if you look during the thing, when we came together, Sita and myself, doing this routine, you can see, I said, I'm gone. I've gone.
Yeah, you were talking to her.
I talked to her to say to her, I can't fucking pick you up. Like, and that was because of that drug I took. It was like a big pink drug. It was. And it was
good job they didn't drug test you, Carl.
No, it was a painkiller, wasn't it? But it's just a strong one.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what went wrong now. I'm not making excuses for being weak, for not being able to pick her up. Literally, I had a bad back.
It was funny, man. Yeah, it was funny.
Have you got any more plans for any more reality TV, Carl? Was that something you enjoyed, and would you do that sort of stuff again, do you think?
You know what? The guys from Celebrity Jungle wanted to meet me a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to meet them, but it meant going down to London, and I was a bit busy. I don't think I'd go in the jungle. If I did, which I think is a great show. It's quite a friendly show. You can't do so much damage in there, like in Big Brother or something. It can all go horribly wrong. I think I'd do it later in life. Whilst I'm working for Sky, and I've got a lot of credibility with my job with Sky, and people listen to me and take me serious because of what I've done in the world scene. I think it's received well. And if I go in the jungle and start prancing around eating kangaroo balls and, getting creepy crawlies all over me, and I just think it's something I can do when I'm older.
Yeah, I think if you don't need the money, Carl, as well.
No, exactly. I feel like the people that go in that, they either want the fame, which is nothing wrong with that. They want to get themselves a bit of a profile boost, or they need the money.
Yeah.
And I'm neither of them. So I just think, let someone else do it. And if I fancy it in 5 years, 10 years, I might have a look. But for now, I've never ever wanted to be famous. I've got no ego.
Have you got any fears?
I don't want to be. You know what? I think we've all got fears. But I think
I'm scared of heights. I'm all
right. I don't particularly like heights. I don't think anyone does. When I'm stood on top of a scaffolding on my jobs, I'm like, oh dear, if I fell off that, I'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
But I've done a parachute jump at 15,000 feet, so I'm obviously not scared of heights. I'm not really fussed about creepy crawlies. I pick spiders up in the house, chuck them out the window, but them big bugs and cockroaches, I mean, I don't like the look of them. There was one running around my villa in Spain this summer with the kids, and the kids were screaming, and I was screaming.
They're scary, them ones in Spain,
though, big cockroaches with wings, and I thought, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, horrible bastards.
But no, I don't know. I don't fancy the jungle, and I don't really fancy anything else, to be honest.
Carl, do you miss the buzz of fighting?
I think that buzz of fighting, yeah, but it comes at a massive price. You've got to be super fit. You've got to train for 3 months. You've got to be realistic. I can't do the 3-month camp. I couldn't do the 3-month camp. My last 2 fights were Groves. The last camp I did, the 12-week training camp, I literally dragged myself out of bed every morning, went on the run and told myself while I'm running, this is the last time I'm going to do this training camp.
So you knew, did you, going into the last Groves fight?
Yeah, going into the Groves rematch, and I was dieting like I never used to have to diet. I was speaking to a nutritionist. Mark Ellison was down here. He looks after some of the Man United team. He's in the England squad. Chris Marshall, the psychologist, I was on with him. So I was having psychology, just chatting away, just sussing out what's happening with the brain, the logic and emotion, and what the amygdala does when you sense danger, and understanding how the brain works and how I was getting so wound up with Groves in the first fight. I was doing my diet properly because The nutritionist there was doing the job brilliantly for me. I was eating at the right times. I was getting proper sleep. I did everything properly, ticked all the boxes. I diarised all my stuff as well. And when I look back on that, it was a great training camp. But the only reason I got through that camp with Groves is, one, because it was a rematch that had to happen. It was Wembley, Sky box office. It had to be done. The abuse I was getting after that first fight, I kind of had to take the fight. I always wanted to fight him anyway, because I was never going to leave it like that, unconclusive finish. It had to be either me get knocked out or him get knocked out in the rematch. And I'm realistic. I thought I was going to win that fight, and there's no way I could lose. But I was still realistic. I thought, if I get caught, I'm getting a bit older, I'm slowing down a bit, I might go down and might not get up. But I thought, I'm leaving it all in the ring. He's going to have to knock me out to beat me. There's no way I'm letting him win unless he knocks me out. And I'm prepared to get knocked out.
Sure. I think if you look at it like that, Carl, then it's a perfect night to retire, isn't it? You're not going to top that, are you?
No, exactly. And if I'd have got knocked out trying to beat him, I'd have got knocked out by a young kid who's good, who punches hard, and that'd have been the end of me. And I'd have gone, you know what? I give everyone what they wanted, give them the rematch, and no one can give me any stick really, because I've gone out on my shield. But it just so happens that I absolutely knocked him unconscious in front of 80,000 fans, and I'm still smiling about it, and I'm still talking about it.
That was, by the way,
retired at the perfect time.
By the way, we was both there tonight, weren't we? And I think that was because that was the first ever show, or the first show at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, the atmosphere
I think
was
for me,
wasn't it?
Yeah, the atmosphere for me, that was the best night of boxing I've been to, and I've been to fucking loads of them. I've got going right through Lennox cards and everything. But that for me was the most. Yeah,
you felt you were part of history, didn't you?
Well, it's not been done, has it, for so long? I mean, we'd had big fights, but 80,000 at Wembley Stadium in a grudge match that everyone wanted to see who's going to win. No one knew who was going to win, really. I'd got badly hurt in the first fight. Then there was this stoppage a bit early. Howard Foster jumped in a couple of seconds, maybe too early. And everyone was, who's going to win, and it was amazing. And the whole event, the night, the production of it all, and the fans, and it was just brilliant. I mean, we both got booed to the ring. And we both got cheered out.
Yeah, exactly.
No one really had a favourite that night, but obviously I came out on top, and I got the finish. I got the knockout, and I went home with my belts.
I was sat next to Danny Dyer that night, and we had a 500 quid bet. He had 500 quid.
It was Groves, wasn't he? Yeah.
He had Groves. Yeah, I had you, Carl, and
which is fair enough. A lot of people thought Groves was going to win.
Did you win 500 quid of him?
Yeah.
Oh, you had a bet with him?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Cash, straight cash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, as Groves was crumpled going down, he put his hand in his pocket and gave me 500 quid.
Really?
Yeah, he just knew he weren't getting up.
Wow. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Carl.
10% of that. So.
Yeah. Listen, Carl, we put a tweet out every week asking people to ask you some questions. And the first one's here from Paul Gimenez. Paul Gimenez says, "Hi, Carl, I'm a huge fan. My question is, what is your favourite moment of your career? Mine was that last gasp victory over Jermaine Taylor. I watched that 12th round 20 times last year."
You know what? Because I had such a busy and such an emotional career in terms of, I lost my title, I won it back, I lost a war, then I came back and fought Lucien Bute. So when you say the first time I won a world title was Jean Pascal, that was a night I'll never forget. In Nottingham, I became WBC champion, the green and gold belt. Anthony Joshua hasn't got one of them yet. You know what I mean? He's got to beat either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder to get one of them.
Sure.
And I'm not giving him stick, but that's the belt. That's the one everyone wants.
Of course
to
it is.
Pro. The British title, then that WBC world title. My first defence against Jermaine Taylor, to be losing the fight and then winning the manner in which I did, that's something that I'll never ever forget. And I'll think, bloody hell, what would my career been like if I'd have lost that fight? Would I have carried on? Would I have ever become world champion again? So there's two fights straight away. Then you've got the Kessler loss, which I then avenged. And to avenge a loss against someone like Kessler at the O2 on Sky Box Office back in England, that's just an amazing night. And then obviously you've got the George Groves saga. The first fight, I got my arse kicked for 6 rounds, but then got the stoppage, so that's not my best moment. But that knockout at Wembley against Groves, that's another amazing night. Even the flawless point victory against Arthur Abraham in my first fight after losing to Kessler to become WBC champ for the second time. So there's that many moments I can't really give. There's not one moment that jumps out at me, except for the obvious one, which is knocking Groves out in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley. Because that's the last punch of my career. Think about it. That's the last punch I threw as a professional fighter. And it landed on George Groves' chin. This kid that I can't stand, this obnoxious, horrible, mouthy twat at the time. And I just knocked him spark out. And it was just all over in that one moment, and it went on for 18 months, all this bullshit with Groves, because the build-up was the first fight, then the rematch build-up, then the gloves are off and pulling him over the table and back and forth and shoving him at Wembley and all that, and sleeping every night thinking about it, waking up every morning thinking about this guy. So when I knocked him unconscious and put it all to rest, I've got to probably give that just in first place.
Lovely, brilliant. Carl. Listen, Parker at Driveways asks, if you could train one boxer out there now, who would it be and how would you improve him?
If I could train a fight, I mean, it's an interesting question. It's a good question, but to be honest, I've got no interest in training fighters. I train my son, Rocco, but he's more into golf than he is boxing. I don't know if I'd be a good trainer. I haven't got patience. You know, I'm not one of these guys that can watch and wait and watch kids develop. Like Rob McCracken watched me develop, like he's watching AJ develop now fight by fight, and he's putting hours and hours and hours in the gym. I've got no aspirations of ever training fighters. Obviously, it'd be nice to give a bit back, but I'd rather go down the amateur clubs and turn up there and give the kids some motivation. There's no one out there I'd like to train.
No worries.
I just don't fancy being a trainer. I've spent all my life in boxing gyms. I don't want to spend the rest of it in gyms.
Right, last question here from Joel Green. He said, if you had to come out of retirement and fight one last opponent, who would you choose and why?
Come out of retirement and fight one last opponent? Well, Gennady Golovkin was always a guy that says, is like, people are like, oh, he'd knock you out. You know, it's like annoying that Golovkin will beat you. And I would have boxed Golovkin if they didn't try and drag me down to 166 pounds. I couldn't do 168 anymore when I fought Groves. I struggled to get down to 12 stones. To get down to 11 stone 12, I've not done that since I was 19.
Sure. And
I was 37, 38 at the time. And everyone was saying, oh, Golovkin will be too much for you, he'll knock you out, he'll beat you up, blah, blah, blah. Golovkin just lost to a guy who's 5'8". 5'8", I'm 6 foot. I don't lose to someone who's 5'8". Right? It don't happen. So it would have been nice, to be honest, to just show everybody that boxing's about size, and size matters. And, you know, for the idiots that don't understand boxing, that just think Golovkin somehow would have knocked me out or been an easy fight for him, it would have probably been nice to just show everybody. Because Ron McCracken said to me, look, you'll beat Golovkin the same way you beat Abraham. Too big for him. People will disagree and say, I can't give you that credit. I'm not going to say Froch would beat him. Well, we're never going to know anyway. So it's all hypothetical. But that would have been a fight for me that I could have maybe come out of retirement after a year and a half or 2 years of when I was talking to Tom Loeffler, his manager, but they was trying to get me down too light. And I was like, no, I'm not risking injury for no amount of money. But that probably would have been the one. And I'll tell you what, I'd have beaten him as well. You know, too big and too strong.
It would have been a great fight. I'd love to have seen that fight. Listen, finally, Carl, there's a question we ask every week on the podcast. And the question is, what is the king of nuts?
What's your favourite nuts?
King of nuts?
Yeah, what's your favourite nut? Not like your ballsack nut, your normal nut, but you eat a nut.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, what's the king of nuts?
Is it like a pistachio nut, a walnut?
Would you class an apricot kernel as a nut?
An apricot kernel?
An apricot kernel has a vitamin called B17, which has cancer-fighting properties. It's now been banned by the government because of its healing powers. It's got a cyanide in it that kills cancer. Look it up. Look up B17. Anybody watching this?
Yeah.
Listen to me. Have a look at B17 and the powers, the healing powers of that. It's not a nut, it's an apricot kernel.
All right, we'll take that.
So have a look at that and see what that does for you. But if I'm going to talk about nuts, I love a salted cashew.
Perfect.
Wow, good answer.
Salted cashew.
Have you tried the Marmite cashews? They're pretty good.
No, I like the honey roast cashew.
Yeah, I like them, but they're a bit sugary and sweet.
Don't get Marmite ones.
No, they're nice. The honey roasted anything's nice. But salted cashew, I can eat them.
Yeah, cashew nut. You can't beat a cashew nut.
No, nice. The texture's nice. Better than a peanut.
Good shout. Well, listen, Carl Froch, it's been an absolute honour having you on, mate. It's so good to get a little insight into your career, mate, and we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, lovely, mate. It's been an hour, so all I've got to do now is if you can just send me the details, we'll send the invoice, and
that's it.
We'll get all sorted out and squared up.
That's it. I'll give you that 10% of that 500 quid from Danny Dyer, and then we're done.
That's it. All you got to...
Listen, boy, it's been a pleasure chatting away. I don't want to talk about myself too much, but obviously it was about me, so hopefully people enjoyed it. And it's been Been good.
Wait, when I rang you the other day about coming on and doing this podcast, and you said, what are we talking about? I said, you said, fucking, I can do that all day long, mate, not a problem.
That's right, I've read my own book twice.
Oh, brilliant. Carl, thanks so much, mate. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, gents.
Yeah, God bless, mate. Cheers.
Bye,
bye,
buddy.
Bye, mate. Bye.
Wow, what an interview.
Yeah, great interview. Great insight into the world or life of Carl Froch. Been good, wasn't it?
Yeah, you said before the interview, Carl can talk, and I know Carl can talk. But yeah, I think we must have asked him about 3 questions there and then got an hour out of it.
I said to him, so where did it all start? Or somewhere along them lines. How did you get into boxing?
Yeah, 45 minutes later.
Didn't have to ask him anything. He went right through every bit, didn't he? I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Amazing though. I had loads of questions to ask him. And he basically had gone through them all by the time I'm thinking, hang on, I've got nothing left to ask him. Gone through it all. Everything that you want to know about his career. He's marked off, isn't he?
It was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
Really
I found
good,
it fascinating to listen to.
He's a good talker, isn't he?
He's a great talker and great guy as well. Very funny humour.
And I like him as a pundit as well. I think he works well on Sky. He's always he's got a strong opinion, isn't he? Always, and I think that I think that's a good thing.
Well, I think that's what people love about him. That he's very opinionated. He says what he feels, and he don't give a shit. It's a good way to be. Yeah, brilliant.
All good.
Fantastic.
So right now we go to Mr. Kugan Cassius, our Mr. Boxing Man in the know. He's been up in Newcastle at the weekend, Lewis Ritson fight. We'll ask him all about that. And he's got a new tattoo.
I believe so. I mean...
I thought he had a tattoo last week, but is he getting some more work done on it?
I think he's getting some more work done on it. He can fill us in on that. But let's see what happened up in Newcastle.
Kugan! What's happening?
I'm in the car.
You're on hands-free again?
Well, I'm not holding the phone because it's illegal.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
So where you going now? You going back home?
I'm driving to London.
What have you been doing, mate? What have you been up to today?
I've been getting another tattoo, haven't I, obviously?
Another one? Was this the same one? Or you never sent us a picture of the other one, Koo. What's going on?
No, I know, because, I haven't yet, because it hadn't properly healed yet, and it was a bit, but I will do now.
So is this the same tattoo, Kugan, or is this a new one?
No, it's not the same one, it's just a different part of the arm. Right.
So it's a continuation of the one you were getting it last week?
Correct.
What are you getting, a sleeve or something?
Well, that's what they call them, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, nice. Well, it looked really good, mate. Well, what we've seen looks amazing.
Yeah, no, the geezer, Paul Boxer, who does it here in Essex, is a whiz around this, so he's a proper artist. So, I'm very pleased with it all. So,
brilliant.
I just don't know when to stop with it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where do you stop?
Yeah,
every
it's
time
true.
I see skin now, I'm like, do we cover it? You know,
stop when you get down to the old Corey.
Yeah, or keep going.
You still got that boxer on the inside of your fight?
Yeah, that's still on there. That's still on there.
Oh, brilliant.
Kugan, why are you, man?
Why, man? Oh, yeah, been up there.
Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, listen, it's a banging atmosphere up there. It's just, obviously, it was a shame what happened with Lewis Ritson. And, it's always awkward after the fight because the Geordies are so passionate, and a lot of them, saying to me, what do you reckon? He had that, didn't he? And you have to be honest and say, no, he didn't. He didn't do it. No, but you have to because you can't, you know what I mean? But they're, passionate fans kind of, do you know what I mean? They're watching it and they see it and it's like the will to win. And it's like, but he just didn't do enough, Lewis. And I think he kind of didn't really have the plan B.
Yeah.
And I think Terra kind of worked out his style after 4 rounds, and then just kind of fought the perfect fight in that way. So
I think the body shot in the 5th round really sort of turned things around, didn't it? Ritson started well, but I think it was all down to a lot of it was experience. I think he just didn't know how to recover from that body shot, and he just went a little one-dimensional for me, and got found out a little bit. I think that he can learn from it. I think he can come back from it better and stronger. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Coog, I mean, you would know you was up there. Was he struggling at the weight? Because he's massive for a lightweight, and he looked flat.
I don't know. I would say, look, he seems to be a little bit tight of weight. Whether he'll kind of move up to light welter, I don't know. he made the weight. So, but how easy he does it, I don't know. And I suppose it is a little bit of possibly an issue there with that.
I saw your interview with him on IFL TV after the fight, Kugan. I thought he was pretty gracious in defeat, wasn't he? Obviously very disappointed, but he was saying in there that the weight wasn't a problem, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean. What goes on, in the camps and, for him to make the weight, all right, maybe he does make it. Maybe it is a struggle. It's not the first boxer to they make the weight, but how easy it is, we don't really know. We don't know, if that last couple of pounds or whatever's coming off with ease, or they we don't know. But, yeah, I suppose looking from the outside, there's a possibility that could be an issue, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But it was definitely a step up for him, and it was one of those where Patera is kind of seasoned, hasn't been stopped before, and you can see why Patera hasn't been stopped before, because he's not spectacular Patera, but he's just very efficient in what he was doing to void what Lewis Ritson was offering early doors. And then as the fight was going on, it didn't seem like Lewis Ritson had that plan B, and...
Yeah, I think Patera showed his experience, didn't he? And as the fight wore on, he gritted his teeth and he started trading with Ritson, and then just started out punching Ritson. I think the volume of punches was the difference. Ritson was looking for the power shots. Patera was just throwing punches in bunches, and to me, that's what stole it. I think it was all down to experience. I think Ritson was loading up too much and let it slip away. I mean, it was a close fight. Went down to the last couple of rounds for me, but Patera just run away with it. He was on a mission, and yeah, he was. I thought it was a good performance.
Yeah, no, it was a good performance, and he fought the perfect fight in that, Patera. And I think where the last 3 or 4 fights of Ritson have ended quite early, and he's kind of blasted everyone out, those kind of concerns about, going into later rounds weren't arisen really, because why would they be? When you're doing what he was doing, it's like, those sort of questions are not really talked about. And I expected Lewis Ritson to win. I didn't expect him to kind of take him out early. And it was a step up, and that was a perfect European level fight for him. I wouldn't call Patera world level, but this is definite European level, and we expected him to come through it, and he's just got to pick himself up and learn from it. Look, you can't knock, kind of what he's done prior to this fight, and I'm sure he'll go back to the drawing board and kind of, make any changes if need to be made and come back.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think that could be. Yeah, I think he'll come back stronger. He's a very grounded kid. I've spoken to him. I spent a bit of time up there with him and his dad, who looks after him. And very grounded. Like, he's always willing to listen. And I think he'll go straight back to the drawing board and he'll work harder and he'll grow and get stronger from this. I really do. I still believe that he's got the potential to go on and will win European and world honours. And so I'll expect it to come back better from this.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, it's been a whirlwind 12 to 15 months for Lewis Ritson. He's sort of come out of the traps from absolutely nowhere, and then literally, since that fight with Robbie Barrett, where he won the British title, it has been a bit of a whirlwind for such a grounded kid, like you said, Spencer. He's not used to all this yet, and he's still grounded. And you heard that in the post-fight where he's apologising. I hate it when fighters have to, they kind of give it their all. And someone like Lewis Ritson is giving it his all and finds the need to apologise. He's got to apologise for fuck all. Let's have it right. He doesn't have to apologise to anyone. But it's that kind of mentality from Lewis Ritson that he let people down, even though he gave it his all. But it just wasn't good enough on the night. But he's got that mentality, which is refreshing to see. No excuses. It's like,
Do you think the pressure played a little part of that, Kugan?
No, I don't think I don't think the pressure. Listen, the crowd was obviously, I think, a 3,000 jump on the last crowd that they had in there at that Metro, and I don't think he's someone that kind of the pressure gets to him. I just think that was an experience fight, and you can argue he kind of he does lack experience, and this was it too early? I wouldn't say this fight was too early. It's still a fight expected Lewis Ritson to win, so it didn't happen for him.
I don't think it was early. I think it was just the step up that he had to make because he was doing so well at British level. He looks, he was walking through all his British opponents. European was the obvious next step, and I just think he'll learn from it. I just think it was a good experience fight. It didn't, it weren't like a fight that put wear and tear on him. I think he misjudged everything, if I'm honest. And I think that maybe the previous wins against the Joe Murrays and the Scotty Cardells, where he's blown his opponents away, maybe he thought he was going to do the same again. And when his opponent was still there in round 7, 8, 9, maybe that just disheartened him a little bit.
Yeah, I think when you're walking through opponents, like I said, that's the issues of someone taking Ritson into the mid, the late rounds. It's not addressed because he's literally walking through,
and
very
they're good opponents, by the way,
files.
as well.
Yeah, good opponents. Good. I mean, you're not talking about like poor fighters or whatever. You're talking about very good British level fighters. So, but I just think time to maybe regroup and just have a little think. If the weight is an issue, have a little think about that. And it's not the end of the road for him. He's 25 or 26 years old, and he's already owned the British title outright, which many fighters, the majority of fighters, don't do.
Sure.
So he's already, but there is still levels for Lewis Ritson to reach.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
Do you think he should come straight back at European title level, or do you think he needs to drop back down?
No, I don't think him going in against someone to blast them out again early is going to absolutely teach him anything at all.
No.
I think that, it's a good question actually. Who does he come back against? Because
I think personally that he's proved that he belongs at that level at the moment, European level. And I personally think that he just misjudged everything, and maybe when the mindset was not quite right. And I think they should bounce him back at that level. Maybe look for the return would be a great fight if he could get that.
Yeah, Eddie was talking about the return.
Yeah,
at some point next year. I think that would be a great shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at some point that will have to happen. I don't think it's the right fight for him to have straight away. I think that something needs to kind of happen and needs to give him time to learn from that. But this is half the problem about jumping from British level to world level as well. You see a lot of fighters kind of get the opportunity after kind of doing whatever at British and then going straight. That middle level, European level, is so underrated because that is your kind of your benchmark between to see whether you can cut it at world level. And I know it's about opportunity sometimes where, you get fighters like Callum Johnson the other day who kind of at British level stepped up but put in the performance, and he was unlucky in that fight. But ideally for Callum, he probably would have liked to. He'd fought one round. We said this, in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
To have kind of got that European level experience, which a lot of people bypass. They kind of go from that British level straight into a world title fight, and they're not ready. And I'm not saying Lewis Ritson obviously took that step, but I'm not saying he wasn't ready for European level because he was, but he wasn't good enough on the night, and we all saw that. But he will definitely come in. I'm not discredit Lewis Ritson at all and kind of say, it's hype, because what he's done in his previous 4 or 5 fights, that's pretty evident for everyone to see. So
sure.
I think it's just a realisation, Kugan, as well, that when you jump up to European and world level, you're not necessarily gonna stop these guys, are you? They're much more durable, and as we saw, Patera was well schooled. So yeah, it's that thing of being able to adapt, isn't it? And I think, as Spencer said, there didn't seem to be a plan B. There was not much movement. He was loading up on every shot. He just looked
a little one-dimensional, a little flat at times. And I think he openly said the body shot done him in the 5th, and he never recovered from that. And I think that might be all to do with the mindset. Maybe Ritson was thinking, he was be too big, too strong. And when he found himself in the later rounds, it was maybe a shock to the system. But a great learning fight for Ritson anyway. But listen, Coog, great undercard as well. We had some great fights on there. Your old mate, Dave Allen.
Yeah, Dave Allen. Dave Allen knocked out Sammy Anibo in a round. And then, do you know what? Sometimes, I don't mean this funny, it doesn't matter who Dave Allen's fighting sometimes. The fact that Dave Allen's fighting sometimes is like the event in itself. And You know what? Look, I think Eddie Hearn kind of summed it up well. I think, Dave Allen's sort of transforming into one of these guys who was, everyone was like, everyone's mate, Dave Allen, want him to do well, and, but the last two wins for him are kind of giving him the confidence to believe that, hang on a minute, let me become, everyone loves me, everyone thinks I'm, this fun, lovable guy, but let me show everyone I can actually fight.
Yeah, he can fight, Dave Allen.
I thought that was a good performance on Saturday, by the way. People that haven't seen the fight against Nebo, the body shots were unreal, man, but he kept it. He took his time. He was picking little shots upstairs, switching the attacks underneath. Yeah, I thought that was first class. Showed a massive improvement to me, and perhaps he is knuckling down and taking it more seriously than he has in the past, because if he does, I think Dave Allen could be a threat on the heavyweight scene, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've got to be realistic, and Dave's the first one to admit where kind of the level Dave's at, and I think, we have to be realistic about that as well. And, can Dave Allen win a British title? Of course he can win a British title,
Sure.
And can he win a Commonwealth British, even maybe European? Of course, but the gulf between that level and the elite heavyweights that we have is quite big. So, and Dave knows that, I think Dave, after a few fights, followed Dave Allen since his third or fourth fight, and I think he always had aspirations. Yes, everyone want to win a world title, of course, but I think as it was going on and on and on, maybe we realised that, let's not, run before we can walk. Let him win the British title first, let him win a European title, and then whatever happens after that happens. But, yes, listen, it was a good performance, and like I said, he got him out there early, and he started quick as well. It's patient, but he started off fast, as well. So let his hands go and got him out there. Now, I don't know, they're talking about possibly Lucas Brown, but then obviously there was talk today of David Price and Lucas Brown happening as well. So I think Lucas Brown is fighting at the end of this year, so that fight wouldn't happen this year if it was to be made. Dave Allen's going to fight on Cobra undercard on the 8th of December by the sounds of it. So
they're keeping him busy anyway, which is a good thing. And big character for the sport, mate. Love him. I thought he was really entertaining after the fight as well. He's just a lovable character, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really see anyone can have a bad word to say about Dave Allen. I said just want him to kind of achieve, and just like I said, I know him winning the British title would be like him winning a world title in some respects. You know what I mean? If you understand what I mean, but. How far he can go. You don't know. Listen, you don't know. But let him kind of get another shot at the Commonwealth or get a shot at the British and, take it from there.
Yeah,
it's tricky, isn't it? Because he's in an era of there's some giant heavyweights out there, and Dave Allen is not the biggest heavyweight. And by his own admission, he sort of seemed to think that he would, he'd come up short against the Furies and the Anthony Joshuas. But he did say, if he didn't win a British title, he would have underachieved.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why he can't win a British title, Commonwealth title, etc. I don't see, that's where he's at the moment. What happens after that, I don't know. Let's let him do that first. So I think if he wins a British title, it would be like his world title in a certain. I'm not disrespecting him by saying that. I'm saying that that's, I'd love to see him win a British title. I wanted to see win the Commonwealth title. Obviously, lost against Lenroy Thomas, and then. Unfortunate what happened in the rematch, so that wasn't to be. But hope Eddie can kind of secure him a shot at the British at some point.
Well, light heavyweight that was on the bill, Joshua Buatsi. I've said this for a while now. I believe this kid is one of the best in the world at the moment. Prospects, without a doubt. I mean, great performance against Tony Avalat, wasn't it?
Yeah, again, another first round destruction, and obviously everyone keeps mentioning the fact that Anthony Yard took him 7 rounds to get rid of Avalanche, but look, we can't do this all day long comparing fighters, what rounds they took people, but I mean, it was an impressive performance by Buatsi, and Buatsi is one of them. He's like just taking his time, getting them right fights at the right time. Was meant to fight Ricky Summers, wasn't he? Buatsi, which would have been a good kind of test for Joshua Buatsi. But look, I mean, look, he fought Avalon. Avalon was Anthony Yard's last but one opponent. You know, they're going to get the same opponents. You know, so especially while they're building, I'm sure that Buatsi is going to be fighting more guys that have fought Anthony Yard and vice versa. So even though obviously Anthony Yard's ahead of him in terms of fights, he's had 10 more fights than him or whatever. If that fight happens in the future, what a great fight that is. But before that, the Jose Burton fight, if that comes up, what a great fight that is as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see that fight. Burton's an underestimated fighter, Jose Burton. When he's on form,
I think so.
He blows slightly hot and cold, but when he's on form, he's a very difficult guy to beat. Tall, rangy, throws out punches in bunches. Yeah, that'll be a great test for Buatsi. But the light heavyweight division's looking good as well, isn't it? Really is.
Yeah, light heavyweight. I mean, I think between now and February, every single world title light heavyweight belt is being contested for between now and February, literally. You know. Yeah. So on the world scene, it's banging, and obviously we've got a little good domestic, you know, bunch that haven't all fought each other yet, but you know, it's getting there. You know, it's getting there.
Yeah. Well, listen, another cracking fight on the bill. This one for me was one of the best. Robbie Davis Jr. versus Glenn Foote. Wow, man, they went toe to toe. Did you see the referee's shirt at the end of the fight? Did you see that? Bob Williams.
Yeah, it's fucking smothered, wasn't it?
Smothered. It was like one of those. That'll be a historic photo. That will in years to come. He was just smothered. But I mean, they both fought their hearts out, didn't they? It was like, what a performance, mate. It's just a shame to see a loser when you get a fight like that.
Yeah, I mean, Glenn Foote, it seems like he's been around for years.
It does.
You know, and it does really feel like Glenn Foote's been around. Glenn Foote's a handful and a dangerous opponent for anyone. And I think, you know, Robbie Davis Jr. kind of had his setback at some point last year, come back and beat the guy that beat him. And then, you know, he's got a bit of a story. I mean, he's what Robbie Davis Jr. has been through over the last sort of year and a half or so with his dad and that, you know, and it was a nice moment for Robbie Davis Jr. to get that British title.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
On Saturday night. And yeah, it was a great fight. And, you know, listen, Robbie Davis Jr. will go on. What Glenn does here from that point onwards, I don't know. But, yeah, that was a very good fight on that bill. Yeah,
brilliant.
Listen, Kugan, can't let you go without mentioning the Martin Bacoli-Michael Hunter fight that was at York Hall on Saturday night. I don't know if you saw it. Michael Hunter got the knockout in round 10. But did you hear about the controversy in sort of at the end of the 8th round with Bacoli wanting to pull out because he was saying his right shoulder was injured, and Billy Nelson, his trainer, basically told him, "You're not fucking quitting." Sent him out for the next 2 rounds, and he got stopped. With about a minute to go. What's your thoughts about that, mate?
Well, I've seen bits on Twitter, and I haven't watched the whole fight. I've literally seen the stoppage in the 10th, was it?
End of the 10th.
Yeah, no, I've seen bits and bobs, and I've seen that Martin Bacoli's come out and said that, I believe he's come out and said that wasn't the case. But I don't know. Look, like I said to you, I haven't watched the whole fight, and I haven't heard all the bits in between the rounds, all that round 8 you're talking about, to really comment on that. Billy Nelson's an experienced guy in the game. You know, he's been around a lot of top level fighters. Obviously, spent a lot of years with Ricky Burns, etc. So, you know, I'm really in the position to comment on that situation. But
well, I'll make a little comment on that situation. I'll tell you what my thoughts are on it. Billy Nelson is one of the best established trainers in the country. I think he's been there, seen it, done it, got the T-shirt. He's a good trainer, and I don't believe he would have sent Bacoli out unless he truly believed he was okay to go on and try and win the fight. I'm sort of defending his corner a little bit, because I know a lot of people giving him stick, saying he shouldn't have sent him out because he wanted to quit because of his shoulder. But look, we've seen it in the past. We saw it with Danny Williams against Mark Potter. Danny Williams went out there and he carried on. And you mentioned one, Jake, as well.
Chamberlain popped his shoulder out against Camacho. Camacho.
And
George Groves, Eubanks Jr., another example.
And Bacoli, for people that don't know Martin Bacoli, has been touted as a future champion. You know, he's been mixing it. I've seen him sparring with Derek Chisora. He's been mixing it with Anthony Joshua, and he holds his own with these guys. You know, he's a big, good guy, and so I can understand Billy Nelson sending him back out, believing that he could still win, even if he had the one arm. Because I know there was nothing in the fight at the time of the stoppage, but he's been taking a little bit of stick, Nelson, for sending him back out. But I think it's not really deserved.
I think maybe part of the problem, though, as well, is before the fight, Billy Nelson was really bigging Bacoli up, was saying he's the only one who's going to take Joshua on. He's the second best heavyweight in the country. Well, I think that was the general belief with a lot of people as well, because I've seen Bacoli in action. I've seen him sparring, and the kid is multi-talented. He really is. So Billy, you know, probably just felt... Look,
as soon as that, the immediate personal thought of Billy Nelson, because Billy Nelson's been... You're right, Jake. He's been talking Bacoli up, and he knows him better than anyone. But what we're going to... Well, not us, but we're knocking trainers for bigging up their fighters and telling them, you know... he wants to get Bacoli into the biggest fights possible. And, you know, and Martin Bacoli kind of on that scene isn't the most known on that scene. So if Billy Nelson's got to open his mouth to get in big fights, then I don't see a problem with that. But
no, it's just I think some people made the point, Kugan, whether that played a part in him not pulling him out. The fact that it bigged him up so much beforehand.
I don't know about
that. Reluctant to then pull him out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. Go back and have a look on you know at those little bits in between the rounds. They are interesting. At the end of the ninth round, Billy Nelson says to Bacoli, throw the right, and Bacoli says to him, I can't. So yeah, it's going to be a debate.
I haven't seen all this. I will watch that fight back at some point this week. But yeah, no, I think, look, Billy Nelson has been raving about him, and more so than anyone else. And, you know, we're not going to kind of discredit Martin Bacoli because he got stopped in the 10th round with his problem with his shoulder, but it's the same thing when it doesn't go your way, which it wasn't their night. They've got to kind of take, you know, when you're taking the pats on the back, you've got to take the reverse as well. So, and Billy Nelson probably has had it. You know, he's probably had some of the worst few days of his career. You know, with all this, but again, regroup and come again. What else are you going to do?
Yeah,
you know? And Billy Nelson's been around, like I said, he's been around for so long, and he's been around top-level fighters. You know, he'll know how to get Martin Bacoli back on track.
Sure. Brilliant. All right, mate.
So what's coming up Saturday, Coog? Where you at? Where you at?
I'm going to Boston in the morning.
Fucking hell.
You are so international, man. That's unreal.
Every week, I'm telling you I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, you're all over the gaff, aren't you?
How many air miles you got now?
Yeah, I've got loads. Yeah.
That's handy, because I need a few. Going away soon.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
I'll give you a call, yeah?
I don't know what you've got to do to collect them, but it can't be much, can it?
No, it's only for like a phone call.
Huh? It's one phone call or something?
One phone call, yeah.
Who'd you ring? What, air miles?
I don't know. Do you want me to sort it out for you for next week?
Yeah, God, you sort it out.
All right.
Can we sort it out?
Yeah, then I can start using them as well.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. We're going to sort it out for you next week. Let's sort it out.
So listen, what fights are you looking forward to the weekend, Coogs?
So, yeah, obviously it's a shame that the Saunders-Andrade fight didn't materialise, but, you know, we spoke about that, and, you know, it's kind of old news now in that respect. The fight's happening now, Andrade and Calvin Dokwa. So I don't really know a lot about Calvin Dokwa. He's 17-0, he's 33 years old, and obviously, judging by his record, he can punch a bit, but expect Andrade to beat him. Katie Taylor defending her world title against Serrano. And then, there's some other little good fights on it. Tevin Farmer and James Tennyson, that's a decent fight for the IBF title. Scott Quigg's on the bill, Tommy Cole's on the bill. A lot of our fighters are on the bill, so
brilliant.
Should be good in Boston anyway. We've got to mention Rocky Fielding. I mean, Rocky Fielding has landed an absolute dream fight at Madison Square Garden against Canelo. I mean,
I'm a bit worried about Rocky Fielding.
I'll tell you what he's got, Rocky Fielding. Rocky Fielding, let's strip it down. Rocky Fielding's got a puncher's chance. That's what he has got. He's got a puncher's chance, but do I truly believe he'll win it? No, but it's an opportunity for him, man, and I think that, Do
you know what I'm worried about though for that fight? It's a lot of all the stuff that Rocky Fielding's talking about. It's like he's like a fanboy. It's almost like it's almost like he's won the lottery just by getting the fight. Now, getting the fight is just the beginning of the fucking story, isn't it? Then you got to train and.
Nah.
It's just the way he was talking about going to. He was taking photos of the fights in New York and at Madison Square Garden. He was talking about 3 years ago. He was there with his girlfriend and he was taking photos and saying one day that'll be me and all that. And he can't believe it's happening and all that. It's like for me, it just seems like he's going in there so starry-eyed. I don't think for me it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to focus on the fight.
Look at where you got to think though, Jay. I don't agree with that because I think that you got to remember when Rocky Fielding was knocked out by Callum.
Yeah.
1 second, boys. I'm just trying to.
No worries.
Drive my motor. Right, I've gone the wrong way.
You're all rattled, that's why.
I'm going the wrong way. Wait,
you got all rattled. Jake said your mate's all starry-eyed. he's lost the plot.
He's gone down one way.
Wait there before I end up writing my motor off. Just trying to refocus. And 3, 2, 1, we're back in the game.
Right, let's do it.
I don't agree with that because you got to think when he was knocked out by Callum Smith, right?
Which was 3 years ago, by the way.
3 years ago, you wouldn't have ever envisaged kind of what has happened to Rocky Fielding in that 3 year. He's had to regroup, build his name back up again because it was a horrendous defeat for him. You know, he was a rival, the whole Scouse rivalry. You know, and it was a much sought after fight at the time, and you know he was beaten in a round. So to come back, regroup, and he doesn't always get the media attention, Rocky Fielding, which plays a part in kind of how things have gone for him in the last 3 years. He had a great win in Germany over Tyrone Zyger. You know, won that world title, and now he's got a shot at Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to him, Cool. I'm over the moon for him in terms of that. But I think if he feels all those things in terms of like the size of it and all that, even if he felt all that, I just think saying it in public maybe is not the best approach because obviously Canelo's going to hear him saying that, and it's almost like he's talking himself out of it.
I know, but look, it's a moment, and listen, you don't get fights at this level. I know people like Ryan Rhodes and Matthew Hatton got fights very early on in Canelo's career. Say early on, he was like 25-0 by the time he was 10.
Yeah.
But they had fights early on. But when Liam Smith got the shot against Canelo, I mean, it was a little bit of a shock factor because you're talking about pound for pound, you know, the best, you know, within the top 3-4 fighters in the world, and one of our fighters getting that shot at him. You know, it must be a little bit of I can't believe this has happened, but.
Yeah, I do. Well, listen, I think you get given those opportunities, he's going to get a massive payday for it, and he's going to believe he's going to win.
No, listen, I think he's got a puncher's chance. I would love for him to do it. Can you imagine if he knocked
pulled it out of the bag?
He's going to be heavier. He's going to be the bigger guy on the night. So yeah, I mean, you know, if he catches that one punch, Canelo's going to go down, man. It's going to be fucking. He'll make history, won't he?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the point you're making is, which is the point I totally understand, is it is a big if. It is a big if because it's a massive task. It's a mammoth task. It's been done before, but it is a big ask. Listen, we're not patronising Rocky Fielding, and he's going to expect the majority of people to know, and he knows as well. This is a massive uphill task, but he has to believe, and you know, Jamie Moore, the team, they've all got to believe that he has a chance of winning. Otherwise, you know, why take the fight? If you don't believe you're going to win that fight, but you don't go into a fight like that. They've got to find something in Rocky Fielding to know that, listen, this is how he's got to beat him.
Yeah, I feel like Kugan, the way he's talking, it doesn't feel like he believes that he can win the fight. It's almost like he's just really happy to be in the fight, and I think that's maybe the wrong mindset going in. But, you know, I might be wrong.
No, but listen, they're not going to like I said, they'll prepare for it like no other, and they're not. I don't think that they, especially the people Rocky Fielding's got around him.
Yeah.
They're going to make sure that they're not going there just to kind of wear the opponent. They're going to do what they can. Yeah, make up the numbers. They're going to do what they, the best. Give him the best preparation, the best kind of put him in the best setting to have a chance at fight. But we know he's up against it. It's not. We're not being like anti-whatever by saying that. We know he's up against it, and he knows he's up against it as well. But, like I said, it's a good moment, like I said to you, Madison Square Garden. I know what you're saying, Jake. I get what you're saying, but I think that Rocky Fielding's too much of a professional, to kind of have that attitude. He may say them things, and, I'm fighting at Madison Square Garden. One of our fighters, when's the last one of our fighters that fought at Madison Square Garden?
I know.
Even at the top level, who was the last one to fight? That's a good question. Who was the last fighter that fought headline Madison Square Garden? Because I can't remember.
I'm trying to think right now. You said it. I'm just trying to think. That is a good question, if I'm honest. Joe Calzaghe versus Roy Jones in 2008.
Right,
in November 2008.
That's 10 years ago. That's a good shout.
Yeah, no, I only know that because I was commentating ringside. I was ringside.
There you go. All right. Okay. So if that is the last fight where one of our fighters fought,
it's 10 years ago. No, I appreciate the magnitude of it. I appreciate the magnitude of it, but I think
massive.
Yeah. No, it's
brilliant.
Listen, but yeah, I think they're on a press door today. So listen, let him take it in, and like I said to you, I know that the training side of it, they'll do everything they've got to do. They're not gonna...
Good luck. I mean, listen, I'd love for Rocky to do that, and I might have a cheeky little bet on him to win that.
So, what else is going on?
That's it. All that's going on now is what we got on now. We're done, really, here. We had a blinder of Carl Froch. Carl Froch. He was brilliant, as always. We've had a good week. And, that's it, mate. And then we just had a blinder with you. What more do we want?
So, this week I'm in Boston. Next week I'm going to Bulgaria.
What's in Bulgaria?
So, come on. Heavyweights.
Oh, Pulev.
Fury and Pulev.
Pulev, of course.
He wins that fight, and he's mandatory to Anthony Joshua, so it's a big fight.
Who do you think wins?
I think Fury will beat him. I genuinely think Fury will beat him.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout,
yeah, it's a big shout.
I think he'll outbox him and beat Pulev.
It's a tough ask out in Bulgaria against Pulev.
Of course it is, especially in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Especially in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
But, I'm going out there.
Oh, nice.
Random trip to Bulgaria, but looking forward to it.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. All right, well, look, we're going to catch up with you next week. So are you going to be around next week? You in England?
This time next week, I'll be in England, yes. Correct.
Perfect. Saves on our phone bill, that's all.
Are you still, who's on page you go out? You two?
Fucking both of us. Don't worry about that.
We're done, mate. We can't afford it anymore.
Jake, have you taken a break from EastEnders?
No.
What?
No.
What's that thing I saw the other day?
Where was that?
Saying that you are taking a break from EastEnders.
Yeah, we're doing a tour, aren't we? So yeah, I'm doing a little break for the tour, January, February.
Oh, that's 2 months. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you need, enough. Mate. That's all you need.
Got a couple of other little things in the pipeline.
That's it.
What else you got going on then?
Well, we're going to slay out the bag as we sort of, we're like drip feeding everyone, All right. You know what I mean?
How was your cupcakes?
Oh, yeah, they went down well, literally. Yeah, good memories you got.
The hot chocolate one. I couldn't believe the hot chocolate one.
Yeah, the hot chocolate cupcake. Yeah, absolutely. Great memory.
I want to try one then. Sound good.
Sounds good.
Brent Cross.
Yeah, I was in Brent Cross this week.
You didn't get one?
No, I didn't get one. No, I got a coffee. You know, if you go to an Nespresso stall in Brent Cross, you can get any coffee. You can ask them for any little coffee.
What, upstairs?
Yeah, on the first floor.
What, for free?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, if you want a coffee, just go straight to Nespresso.
I'm paying big bucks downstairs. paying big dough downstairs.
No, let me try that one.
I don't have a fucking clue what you two are talking about, by the way.
He said not needing no basis, mate. That's what he's talking about coffee, yeah? All right, Kuggy, listen, enjoy Boston as always.
Enjoy Boston, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, speak next week. Cheers, Coog.
All right, later.
Take care, mate. Later, mate. Bye, mate. Bye.
Beautiful. Another great ep.
I love old Kuggy Bear.
Fucking long though, isn't it? Was it 2 hours?
Yeah, it's 2 hours. But you know what? It's 2 hours. So this week, guys, you got commute there and the commute back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think of it that way.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Listen, some people hate the long episodes, don't they? And some people love them.
Yeah.
So there you go. Can't please everyone. Next couple of weeks, we've got some good guests lined up, and we're going to talk to Anna Woolhouse in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
She's Sky Sports presenter. She's doing a fabulous job.
She is.
As ever. And it'd be interesting to hear from a woman in that industry, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What her experience is and how she get into it and all that kind of stuff. So, if you've got any questions for her, give us a tweet at Pound Podcast.
Yep. I done Anna's first show with Anna, I think, on Sky Boxing.
I remember.
Yeah. So it's she's come a long way, mate, and she's a great guest. And we've also got Jamie Redknapp lined up, who's a massive boxing fan. So I spoke to Jamie, and he was really keen to come on the show. So really looking forward to that.
Any questions for them? Get them in, and then we'll also, I think, after that, we'll do a fan special. Let's do one before Christmas, shall we?
Yeah. So we're going to do. Weeks. So, we're going to go Jamie Redknapp, Anna Woolhouse, fan special.
Perfect. Sounds
brilliant.
Great. All right. Good stuff. Pound for Pound is a Boxing with the Stars limited production created by Ross Siegel, produced by Spencer Oliver, Jake Wood, Ross Siegel, and Alex Siegel. Music by Keith Atack. This podcast is hosted by Audio Boom and edited by Zach Brown. Music by Keith Atack. I said that, didn't I? Graphics by Lolly Edwards. I've done it all wrong. Did I say it's hosted by Audio Boom? That's fucking mad, is it? You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Pound Podcast. Losing the plot, haven't we? We've been 2 hours in this fucking box. How hot is it?
We've lost it.
Huh?
We've lost it, man. Let's get me out of there.
Burn it up. Shit.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.